Juan Mendez Scott's Mystery Magazine.
Chapter 4. The Drive. I stared at my phone, the screen dimming after ringing out. No answer. Again. I swiped the phone off the bed and stuffed it in my pocket, feeling that familiar weight in my chest. Jazz had been dodging my calls since last night. I kept telling myself it was no big deal, but the pit in my stomach said otherwise. Something was wrong. As I buttoned up my shirt and shoved my feet into my sneakers, I could hear the rain hammering against the windows. It sounded like the sky had opened up and decided to drown the world for good measure. I glanced outside. Thick sheets of rain blurred the world beyond my room. The gray morning heavy and lifeless, matching the mood that had settled over me. One more time, I muttered to myself, picking up my phone again, my thumb hovering over Jazz's contact. I hit call, and just like every other time, it rang until her voicemail kicked in. "Hey, it's Jazz! Leave a message!" Her voice was like a knife twisting in my gut. I ended the call before it could beep. I grabbed my keys off the dresser and headed for the door. Mom was still sleeping. Her night shift had wrecked her schedule, and she wouldn't be up for a few more hours. I didn't bother leaving a note. It wasn't like she'd notice I was gone until late anyway. The rain pounded against my car as soon as I stepped outside, soaking me in seconds. I slid into the driver's seat, the water dripping off my hoodie and into the fabric, but I didn't care. Starting the engine, I felt that low rumble beneath me, like some kind of anchor pulling me into the day. The windshield wipers worked overtime as I drove, fighting the downpour. Great Mills looked even smaller under all that rain, like the whole place was shrinking. The streets, usually so calm, felt empty and hollow. The houses along the way blurred in the downpour, but I knew them all. Every street, every driveway. Great Mills was one of those places where everybody knew your name, knew your family, knew your business. It was the kind of town where secrets didn't stay buried for long. And yet, somehow, everyone walked around pretending they didn't have any. It was like the rain itself, a blanket over everything, but you knew, deep down, it couldn't wash anything away. By the time I pulled into the school parking lot, the rain had slowed a little, but it was still coming down hard enough to make me hesitate. I sat in the car for a minute, gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles turned white. I wasn't ready for this. I wasn't ready to see her. Part of me couldn't wait to lock eyes with Jazz to see if she'd smile at me the way she used to. But the other part of me, the part that knew she was avoiding me, feared her face would actually look like when we finally crossed paths. What if she doesn't even look at me? I shook the thought out of my head and took a deep breath, pulling the hood over my head as I stepped out into the rain. The cold water instantly soaked through, clinging to my skin, but I barely noticed. I was already drowning in my own thoughts. Each step toward the entrance felt heavier than the last. My shoes squelched in the puddles, the sound annoyingly loud against the quiet of the early morning. I glanced at the school, its tall brick walls looking more like a fortress than a place where kids came to learn. Today it felt like the last place I wanted to be. I paused at the door, wiping the rain from my face. My fingers trembled slightly, but it wasn't from the cold. The door loomed in front of me, a barrier between me and Jazz, between me and whatever answer waited on the other side. I gripped the handle, feeling the slickness of the rain beneath my palm. Just go in, Trey. It's not that hard. But it was. I wasn't just walking into school. I was walking into rejection, into the possibility that everything I'd been holding onto was about to slip right through my fingers. I pushed open the door and stepped inside, the warmth of the school immediately hitting me. The noise of the hallway, the chatter of students, the slamming of lockers, it all felt distant, like I was watching it happen from behind some invisible wall. I looked down the hall, half expecting to see her standing by her locker, that smile I knew so well lighting up her face, but she wasn't there. I exhaled slowly, feeling the weight of it all pressing down on me. The rain outside wasn't the only thing drowning me. The rejection, the silence, the unanswered calls. It all felt like I was sinking deeper and deeper into something I couldn't escape from. And the worst part? I wasn't sure I wanted to.
On the next episode of Juan Mendez Scott's Mystery Magazine, Chapter 5, Crying in the Rain.